Hey HTC, I am so excited that today I have Melanie with me. That if you have been watching some of the video, Melanie and I, we actually did a webinar probably like 3 years ago, and I know you may have watched it on exactly how to use LinkedIn to attract influencers and find those high ticket partners. And so now I've brought her back by popular request that to bring to you an updated training on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is probably, if not probably, is the number one most powerful platform that I believe that you could use to reach out to high ticket partners and influencers and get those opportunities. So now for those of you who don't know Melanie, where have you been? You've been hiding under the rock. And she is the author of two books. Her latest book, Unlocking the Mystery of LinkedIn for More Sales. I've just finished reading her book. It is a very, very, very powerful book. And it's one of those books, I don't care if you know anything about LinkedIn or where you are, or you don't even have a LinkedIn profile. It is essentially a blueprint for what you need to do if you want to build up your profile. You want to build up that authority on LinkedIn as a high-tech closer. It's a must read. And Melanie is known as a top 100 marketing influencers, top 10 social media blogs, top 50 trustworthy digital marketing experts, author of the #1 international bestsellers, LinkedIn Unlocked, and also the LinkedIn Code. Top 65 women business influencers, top 50 social selling influencers, top 50 sales influencers. She's been featured in Forbes, LinkedIn Inside Edition, ABC, CPC, Social Media Examiner. I could go on and on. Melanie, so happy to have you.
Hey, thanks so much, Dan. It's always great to hang out with you in any capacity at all. So listen, LinkedIn's our topic today, and social selling is a topic that's obviously really important as well, and it ties in so well with LinkedIn and anything B2B. So, for those of you, which is all of you, who are selling to other businesses, LinkedIn is the premier platform to do that. Here's some of the reasons why. LinkedIn's the #1 channel to distribute content, business-related content. It drives more traffic to B2B blogs and websites than any other of the social media platforms. It's considered more effective for for lead generation, especially for B2B lead generation. In fact, 80% of all B2B leads generated by social media come from LinkedIn. And I love that stat because I'm sure you've noticed that most people use LinkedIn very poorly. So 80% of the leads are coming from LinkedIn. What would happen if you actually did this stuff right?
And I noticed that, Melanie, that I see it's interesting because I have different friends who use LinkedIn. And I have I've heard stories where people try to use LinkedIn and they say to me, Dan, it's a waste of time. I get no leads. And then I hear from friends where, you know what, I get 100% of my leads from LinkedIn. So definitely, I think we want to cover some of the mistakes that people make and what are some of the common, the best practices that you see. So I'm so excited.
Yeah, I love what you just said because I hear that all the time. And here's the thing, there's two issues that come up with people. One is that they say that they don't get any leads from it. And those that don't get any leads from it is because they're not doing anything with it.
Correct.
So for some reason, they're just magically expecting leads to appear without doing anything at all. And we know that that's just not how business works. That's not how sales is generated. That's just not how it goes, unfortunately. The other reason that a lot of people don't seem to get a lot of traction on LinkedIn is because they don't like it. They find it boring. It's not an exciting platform. It's not where people are sharing their personal stuff. And, so a lot of people just don't tend to engage with it. They don't tend to spend any time with it because it's not fun. But here's the thing, as entrepreneurs and as business people, to us, sales and business is fun. I know for you, Dan, business is fun. Sales are fun. That's why I like LinkedIn, and that's why the people that are truly using LinkedIn consistently and effectively and properly are generating tremendous results from it.
Wouldn't you also say, I think it's also that environment, the frame of mind where, let's say people browsing on YouTube, they are looking at personal stuff. They're looking for, it could be entertainment, stimulation, or whatever it is. But when people go to LinkedIn, it's business, right? I
It's
put on my
all business.
business,
Yeah.
right? It's a business. I mean, a quick story. I was trying to connect with I had a friend of mine. We lost contact about 2 years ago, and he's like CEO of a huge corporation, like $1 billion company, right? I tried to email. I tried every single thing to try to reach him. I couldn't. And guess where I go? I went to LinkedIn,
Hmm.
and I found, oh, we're actually not connected. I sent him a message through LinkedIn. Within 24 hours, he got back to me. We say, oh, hey, Dan, how's it going? And we jumped on a call. I couldn't do it through anything else, but I got it done through LinkedIn.
And that's one of the things that makes LinkedIn so unique when it comes to social media platforms. No matter how high level somebody is in terms of, I work with a lot of companies that have sales teams and that might be looking for, their decision makers are higher level C-suite executives. Everybody manages their own LinkedIn profile for the most part. There might be some exceptions to it. But whereas if you have a business and you're engaging with them on Facebook or Twitter, a lot of times you're engaging with a social media manager.
Yes.
Right? Where LinkedIn, you're engaging with that person, because
Yeah.
most people don't give up access to their personal profile. Now, I do. I have a couple of people on my team that I let them go into my profile to do a few things for me here and there. But when it comes to messages, like personalized messages that people are sending me, those always come to me no matter what.
Very powerful.
So, yeah. So, 3 important reasons why your LinkedIn presence matters. And I think that this is so important because if you're going to use LinkedIn for business, you better make sure you look good. One of the things that people are going to do when they want to learn who you are is they're going to Google your name. And LinkedIn, your LinkedIn profile is going to show up somewhere in the first 3 positions. Regardless of where it shows up, it's the place that people know that they can find out more about you, and it's where they're going to click in most cases. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is really representing the personal brand that you want, because it's often your very first online impression. You can have a presence on all kinds of different social media platforms, but this one is often your first online impression. The second thing is it's how people find you or find out about you. So, what you want to think about in your LinkedIn profile is, what do people actually care about? They care about who you help. They care about what problems you can solve for them. They care about social proof, who else have you helped? And at the end of the day, this is what they care about the most. What's in it for me? That's what they're thinking. What's in it for me? There's that acronym, WIIFM. They don't care about you. They only care about how you can help them.
I remember when we first did the webinar 3 years ago, you were talking about that LinkedIn. Most people, they just slap their resume on there. I went to school here. This is my accomplishment. This is my credibility and all these things. But you really opened my mind to, because I thought, yeah, it's a resume place. But you were saying, no, it's still a place where you need to sell. You need to communicate your value. You need to tell them what's in it for them. It's not just
exactly
right. You can have links. You can drive them to your page. You can drive them to whatever call to action that you want. But it's still good old WIIFM.
Yep, WIIFM. Don't ever forget it. So the other thing is occasionally you can attract organic leads. I was doing a search recently for somebody to help me with some technical support. Where's the first place I went? I went to LinkedIn, did my search in there to that specialized software that I needed some help with, and found somebody and hired somebody through LinkedIn. So, you want to ask yourself right now, what does your personal brand currently say about you? You want to look at your profile and ask yourself, is it client focused? Is it speaking directly to your ideal prospects? Does your profile give them a reason to click? So when they see you in, whether it's the news feed or search results, or it's even, a connection request that you've sent, is your profile giving them a reason to click, to want to learn more? Is your profile attracting and engaging them? And in order to do that, it needs to speak to them. It needs to speak their language. Dan, if you just went through my book, I have an entire chapter on that, speaking their language. What are the specific things that they say? How do they describe it? What are the specific pain points that they describe? Everything needs to be in their language so that it really resonates with them. And like you were saying, absolutely forget the whole resume situation. Unless you're looking for a job, you're looking for, a company to hire you for, whatever skill. If you've got your own business started now, you want to generate new clients, so you're going to take a different approach from it versus, being an intern or somebody right out of university that's just looking for a job. They can have a resume, that's fine. But once they found a job, then they want to go in and update their profile, very much following the system that I'm talking about here. So let me give you some tips for writing a client-focused LinkedIn profile. The first thing that you want to do is always write in first person. Because at the end of the day, when you're marketing to one person at a time. So you want to speak to one person. So if you're going to write a bio, or if you're going to, have it more like a resume or CV, it's going to be written in third person. It's not going to resonate. Even though LinkedIn's a business social network, it's still a social network. So be social. Identify specifically who your ideal clients are. What do they look like? Who are they? Are they, thought leaders and influencers? Are they VPs of sales? Who are they? Be specific about who they are, and then share exactly how you can help them. And in order to do that, you also have to identify what is their problem. What is the problem that you're solving? And then you can also, discuss the solution that you offer to solve that problem. And of course, you always want to end it with a call to action. Somebody's on your profile right now today, you want them to take action today, because tomorrow they might forget.
And I love how you highlight my company and I work with exactly VP of sales and sales team. That's, you identify who your ideal clients are, B2B individual sales and businesses. And then you have, it's asking them a question as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
One more leads, clients and sales. We're speaking what's in it for them. And then you talk about basically kind of like a problem solution, and then a very clear call to action.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. That is the formula. That's the magic formula. So just always remember, you're going to be speaking to them. So if you're going to attract them, it's not about you. Yes, your profile does need to have a little bit about you. It needs to lay, the foundation for your expertise, for your credibility. It needs to share a little bit about your story, your why story, why you do what you do, and then move right into talking about them. Now, you also need to make sure that your profile stands out. And, there's a little section in LinkedIn that will let you know where, the profile strength. Have you reached an all-star? And LinkedIn's all-star is very different from what my all-star is, because all you need to do is, have a couple of sections, have some sections in there with like one sentence in each one that adds absolutely no value, that describes nothing about what you do, and it can be considered an all-star. It takes a lot more to be an all-star. So the most basic thing that everybody needs to have is a professional headshot. And this is just a clean headshot with a clean background where they can see your face, your eyes, and your smile. You
don't want one of those drunk Facebook photo on your LinkedIn, believe me. Okay.
Exactly. In fact, you don't want a photo of anything other than you, not even a picture of you and your dog, no matter how cute your dog is. That's a Facebook picture. I was doing a LinkedIn seminar, and I had a guy in the seminar. He's a sales professional, and I pulled up his profile on the screen, and he had this picture of himself holding this big fish. He's really proud of this fish he caught on a fishing trip. I'm like, that picture, it's for Facebook. LinkedIn.
Do you have any recommendation in terms of getting a professional photo done?
Yeah, you don't have to spend a fortune on this. You can just hire a local photographer. Worst case scenario, if you need something in the short term, get somebody with a decent camera, or even, many phones have very decent cameras. Be on a clean background, and just have a nice clean headshot. So ideally, a professional picture is going to be best. But, you can get a decent picture doing it yourself. Just keep it with a nice clean background, real nice close up, and get that up there before you do anything else. Because, when I get connection requests from people without photos, or people that have used logos or anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not connecting with them. I
Correct.
actually have a slide that I should have put in here, and it's, you probably have seen this in the book, Dan, where I talk about people connect with people, not logos. And so what makes us connect with somebody is that visual impact of seeing that person right off the bat. The next thing is adding rich media and multimedia. So video is really powerful
Mm.
because video allows you to really humanize yourself, allows people to get to know you more, and really, go beyond the face of a photo and go and learn a little bit more about you. So I always like to have a video in my LinkedIn profiles, and you can have rich media. You can have other forms of media like slideshare presentations, which is what I did with, I created a slideshare presentation of a whole bunch of testimonials from my clients, or
Mm.
you can have PDFs in there. But videos are always best, and you don't need to load this up. A couple of pieces of media in your summary section, one or two in your experience section is plenty. That's all you need.
And I love this strategy because one of the things I teach all my HCC students is where instead of sending in a resume to influencers, you send them a video. You can also post a video on here. Again, you look at the hundreds and hundreds of LinkedIn profiles on there. How many of them actually have a video, right? It's like maybe one in, I don't know, one in hundreds.
Very few, very few. Probably one in thousands.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
when you have a
yeah.
video, people, oh, okay, because it is the whole platform, the whole design. It is a little bit more dry, right? Text, it's a little blue. When you have
Yes.
something that's multimedia, it's much more engaging and interesting, right? And I can click on it within seconds, or I get a feel of what you like, not just like a text, right?
You get a feel of what that person's like, absolutely. And it totally visually enhances what's a pretty blah, boring profile.
Mm,
So, because those images live right there, like this, the slide that shows those images living right in my profile. So,
mm.
yeah, it serves so many purposes and so many benefits. So, if you want to use, different types of rich media, go ahead and do that, but definitely have, minimum one video in there to let people know a little bit more about you and get a feel for who you really are.
Love it.
So there's three important things, really important things that your personal brand must do. The first thing is needs to build authority and credibility. Your profile needs to effectively position you as a credible, a credible professional, and position your authority on what it is that you do. So this is the very first thing. The second thing, of course, is describing how you solve the problem for your prospects and how you're the solution to that. The third thing is increase trust and engagement. The goal of your profile really should be to start to build trust with these brand new people, viewers, prospects, to get them to at least want to connect with you and potentially engage with you. Now,
Mm,
of course, if they send you a connection request or they're accepting your connection request because you've sent it, they might not be the first person to initiate engagement. This can be you. But
mm.
when your profile looks really good, when you stand out, when you look professional, look credible, people are going to respond much more so.
And I want to emphasize one thing that I noticed because I get people adding me and connecting with me, and see if you agree with this, Melanie. That sometimes you can clearly see that it's like a pitch, right? They just connected with you, and now they're sending me this a long pitch about what they do, how they do it, and all that stuff. And I just ignore those messages, or they try to pretend it's personal. That you have the first paragraph it's personal, and then the rest is still a copy and paste kind of a message, right? Um, I think at the end of the day, all we're looking for is a one or two influencers that we can close sales for HTC. That you want to take some time. Like if you connect with an influencer, do the research, get to know a little bit about the background of social media, and make it very personal. Maybe I don't think you even have to make the message too long. What do you think, Melanie?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go into that in a moment
Okay, thank
because
you.
the message, obviously, the connection request message is going to be really, really short. But the first message should be also really short. And the way that I taught this back when we did our last webinar, Dan, or in my very first book, The LinkedIn Code, has completely changed. Because the strategy has changed because people have overused things, overdone things, things fatigue, and strategy needs to adapt.
Yes.
So yes, much shorter, much more personalized. I'll dive into that in just a second. So, the other thing that's really going to be really important for you is to actually grow your network. And so, one of the things that I talk about is I actually created a video and an article about why I don't connect with lions. Now, lions are LinkedIn open networkers. Now, just because you're going to grow your network doesn't mean you should just grow your network with anything or anyone. Because over time, you want to have a high quality network. And the reason I don't accept connection requests from people that have lion in their headline or even in their name field, which, by the way, is a big no-no in the LinkedIn world. It breaks LinkedIn's terms of service to have anything but your name in your name field. So some people will have their name and then they'll have lion. Well, those people get immediately rejected because I don't want to connect with people that have a really, really low quality network. Because their first level and second level connections become my second and third. And I don't want them to have that easy access to me.
That's good. That's good. So we need to be very selective who we're connecting with. That's a good tip right there.
And remember that other people are too. And this is why your profile needs to really be exceptional so that they do actually connect with you, so that they do accept it. Now, who do you connect with? So you want to grow your network. It's important to grow your network because people can't find you and you can't find them unless they're part of that network, which is, let me just go back to that, which is first, second, or third level connections, or they share a group in common with you. So it's really important. So you want to look at who are some of the people that you're going to connect with. People that you meet offline and online. So it could be people that you know on other social networks. You go to a networking function or you go anywhere, the people that you meet, you could be connecting with. Sure, connect with your friends and family on LinkedIn, even though it's not a personal platform, it's a business platform. It still expands your network. Referral partners. Who are some of those people that, you could be connecting with? I had a call with another social selling expert today, and we were talking about that because he was interviewing me for his podcast. And we were like, not every single person that you connect with is necessarily going to be, a prospect or a client. There is a lot of people that connect with me, that engage with me, that do a lot of, that are really active kind of, in my network with me, but they're never going to buy from me for whatever reason. Either they can't afford it or it's not of importance to them right now. They've got other things going on or whatever, but they're referring me to people. And so, look at LinkedIn not just as a source for, who are my ideal prospects, but who could also be referral partners. Anybody that you've gone to school with, whether it's through your program, Dan, or, official, post-secondary education, university, college, vendors, partners, anybody that you've worked with in the past, obviously industry leaders, and of course, prospects. So, and then again, any clients that you've worked with, past or present. These are all the different types of people that you can and should be connecting with to grow your network. When should you connect with these people? Immediately. So if you meet somebody new, connect with them right away before you forget. And especially if you've just met them in person or online on another social network, before they forget who you are. So you reach out and say, hey, it was so great to meet you at XYZ event, or it was really great engaging with you and having that conversation with you on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, whatever. Just send them that personalized message and do that right away before they forget you. You like that?
I love it. Because then you think about it, because most people, even including myself, I never thought, okay, well, I met that person. The first thought I have, well, maybe we connect to Facebook or whatever it might be, but why not just connect them to LinkedIn?
Well, you know why? Absolutely. Why it's so perfect is because LinkedIn allows you to stay up to date on what's going on with them professionally.
Correct.
Whereas Facebook allows you to stay up to date on what's going on with them personally. Correct.
Powerful.
So, yes. And both are great depending on the relationship that you have, right? It depends on, the relationship. But either way, it's going to be powerful for you to know what's going on with them professionally. Now, you've got that personalized connection, that opportunity to connect with a prospect. You're going to send them that personalized message. You want to be very careful if you're doing this on mobile, because on mobile, you can easily hit that connect button and it sends the default message. You always want to take 30 seconds and personalize this message, this connection request. It's the difference between being accepted 95% of the time and being accepted 30% of the time.
So would you say, let's say, pretend you and I, we don't know each other, we met at an event, we want to connect. Then we say, hey, Melanie, very nice meeting you at ABC conference. I had a great chat. Looks like you do some exciting things. Let's connect, that kind of thing, right?
Yes.
Perfect.
That's perfect. And that's with somebody that you've met. And it can be that simple too with somebody that you haven't met. So you go to their profile, look at what they've been sharing. I mean, obviously you can look at what's in their profile itself, but you can also look at their activity on LinkedIn. What have they been sharing? What have they been commenting on? Have they posted any articles recently? And a lot of people will connect with me with a personalized message saying, hey, Melanie, I really love that article that you shared, or, that post that you shared or whatever, and they'll reference that. And that, that's enough to actually get me to accept their connection request.
At least you can tell they're taking the time. It's not a whole kind of a message. Is they're taking the time to look at your work, or they're fans of your work, right? That makes a huge difference.
It absolutely does, because how can you say no to that?
Yeah.
I mean, I personally have a problem doing it.
For sure. If especially, hey, Melanie, I read your book, I read your article, I follow you on social media. Now it's okay. Especially if you actually reference something very specific, I think. Like I love what you said about blank in your book.
Well, Dan, I'm going to give you a perfect example. I have had such a huge influx of connection requests from your high ticket closers.
Yes.
And many of them were brand new to LinkedIn.
Yes.
They had like 23 connections.
Yes.
They didn't have a good profile. They, in most cases, they referenced you and referenced me. So they're like, hey, I'm with Dan. I just did Dan Lott's program, and he encouraged us to watch your webinar, and it was great. And I haven't worked on my profile yet, but I'm gonna shortly. I'd love for you to accept my connection request. And they all did a really fantastic job of that, and I accepted them all. Now, had they not sent that message to me, there was so many red flags about so many people from your program that I wouldn't have accepted most of them.
Yes.
Okay, because a lot of them were very, very new to LinkedIn, and I could have perceived them as fake accounts. Oh my gosh, look, this person's only got 23 connections, or, even 109, or, you know what I mean? So there was a lot of red flags. I have a whole, series of red flags of things that I look for. It's like, they just kept hitting it. They kept hitting them, but their personalized note to me made all the difference.
And so think about that that's a great point, especially when you are planning to reach out to connect with influencers. Make sure that your LinkedIn profile, you don't have those red flags. You have the professional photo, you have the professional header graphic, you have the description, no typos, all of that looking professional, right? Making your profile stand out, maybe throw in a couple of videos. Then when Melanie is nice enough, she knows we have the connection, we're good friends, and use my name, she accept your request. But assuming it's a cold influencer, then they will probably say no, which is not their fault, it's your fault, right? You got to make sure that you represent the brand and yourself well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And don't be so anxious to just jump in and start to connect with higher level influencers.
Yes.
Until you've done the work, because it's going to not serve you well. It's going to backfire. It's going to it's not going to produce a good result.
Yeah, never get a second chance to make a first impression. So make that first impression.
Yeah, and things live on too, right? Even in the first messages that you send. So for example, people that have pitched me in their first message to me, then I see their next one come through. I'm telling you, the minute that happens, they're just being removed.
Yes.
So okay, so we've talked about this. Don't send the default messages. Always let people, this is what people are wondering when they receive a connection request from you, they're like, I don't know this person. Why are they trying to connect with me?
Yes.
That's the question that they have in their mind.
Yes.
Every single time.
Yes.
And you have to understand too, that there's different types of people on LinkedIn. Some people will say, well, I accept everybody. Lions, LinkedIn open networkers. Others are, I'm not accepting anybody unless I know them in real life. And then there's a whole bunch of people in between. It's usually that whole bunch of people in between that are the ones that you're trying to reach anyways.
Mm.
So again, everything I want you to think about in terms of the messages that you send on LinkedIn, whether it's a connection request or it's a message that follows, your LinkedIn profile, anything and everything you do, just want you to always remember this quote. No one cares about your business. They only care about their problem. Be the solution. So Dan was talking earlier about some of the mistakes that people make. And, there's two big mistakes that people make. They either pitch their connections immediately, which first of all doesn't work. Secondly, it can get you restricted because people can start reporting you to spam. Or the second thing that they do is they just keep this conversation online forever.
Oh, I'm so glad you say this. This is awesome.
Yeah. So, social media is, if you're using this as a social selling tool, as a sales tool, as a business building tool, you need to get those conversations offline. But you can't do it in the first message because that's pitching and that's moving too fast. And you've got to slow down the sale to speed it up. And I love what Dan was saying earlier, how he teaches his community to send that personalized video. That makes a huge difference. Actually, there was a guy recently. So Brand24 is a social media monitoring tool that does every year does this big report on the top 100 marketing influencers, and it's pulled by data. So I'm on it year after year, and they compiled their results. And one guy reached out to every single one of those 100 influencers on the report with a personalized video on Twitter, real short and quick, and said, hey, to me, he's like, hey, Melanie, I'm doing this big roundup blog of the top 100 social, marketing influencers. I'd love for you to answer just this one quick question. What's one piece of advice you'd give to brand new people that are just starting out in business? And it was just like, just me one sentence. And he made it really quick and easy for everybody. And we just all responded via Twitter. He compiled a massive monster blog that all of the influencers, including myself, shared.
That's super smart. I love that. And there's a few things that he did that I want to dissect it a bit. First of all, target audience, the top influencers, compile the list, individualized message, adding value, right? Hey, you know what? I'm doing this massive blog. I want your advice. I want your expert opinion. Great. And I mean, I'm sure.
Well, the first thing he did, Dan, was he congratulated everybody.
Yeah, I love that.
So he congratulated, hey, Melanie, congratulations on being named, top 100, marketing influencers. Here. And then, did the kind of ask for help, but not for him. I'm compiling this for, new entrepreneurs to help them. What's one thing that you'd say to them,
And it's almost like you feel rude not to reply.
Absolutely.
Or you feel actually, well, what if, I'm sure he's contacting the other 50. What if I'm not in it? Then I look like an idiot, right?
Right. He went so far out of his way, and he did it in such a classy way and made it so easy for people that almost everybody responded.
I love that.
And I found it afterwards because he kind of shared the story about how he did this. And I didn't even know who he is. I don't even remember his name. But he shared the story that he spent 2 days shooting these videos, walking around a pool outside, and shot all these videos around a pool. I think he might have been in a hotel somewhere. But he literally spent 2 days personalizing these. And for most people, they do remember who he is. I have a whole bunch of things that have kind of gone on in the last month or two with, a brand new book. I've got a brand new course coming out. I'm moving countries. I've got a lot of things. So his name isn't top of mind for me, but I'm sure it's top of mind for many of the others.
Yes.
So yeah, I wish I actually remembered it because I feel kind of bad about that.
And
Yeah.
I love the idea. It's very, very powerful. And now has that more personal connection with all these influencers now.
Oh yeah. I mean, if he reached out to me again, I'd remember who he is.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, he did a fabulous job. But not only that, like the amount of traffic that he generated to his own website and blog for doing that.
And now
that alone was worth it.
You basically go back after the compiled blog and get them to again ask for help if the influencer want to share this blog with the audience. They're now, because they participate, they're more likely to do it, right?
We all did it.
Yeah,
we all shared it. So yeah, it was powerful. But again, so don't go in with the pitch and just try to like have conversations online forever without moving them offline. One of the things, Dan and I, that's what we did. We had kind of connected online, and then we had phone calls offline, and that's how we got to know each other.
Yes.
That's how we can actually call each other friends.
Yes.
Right.
You take it beyond and that's what we do. We get them on the phone, right? Make the connection, find out about their needs. Don't try to do it at first, like message. Hey, you want to call me? Like, no. Back and forth. It's a very organic, natural process if done right.
Exactly. Yeah. And you got to remember, the higher level people that you're trying to attract, the more they get inundated. You need to stand out. You need to be really special because they're getting a ton of requests and messages every single day.
Makes sense.
Okay. So, once you've got a great presence on LinkedIn, then you want to start using it as a business building tool. And that's, starting off with finding those people. So using LinkedIn's advanced search to go out and find the people, using groups and watching who, other people in your network and who they're engaging with. There's so many ways to find. Then you connect with them through that personalized connection request. The next step is engaging with them. And this is what I call the welcome message. And so, this is what you do after you connect with them. And that's very much changed in how I used to teach it to how I teach it today. You're not wanting to send them anywhere. You're not wanting to, get them to do anything. You want to keep this really, really short. And there's only one purpose in sending this message. And that's thanking them for connecting with you, establishing a little bit of rapport, and maybe starting a dialogue, but super short. And again, it's going to vary depending on who it is that you're connecting with, who it is that you're speaking to, the approach. But the more personalized you can make this, the better. Then you're going to want to continue to develop and build that relationship. And you can do that in multiple ways. One is start to engage with them in the content that they're sharing online so that your name becomes recognizable to them. So that when you do then send a message, and maybe you're going to send a message to them about something that you come across that's going to be really interesting to them, something that's going to add value to them, or a reference of, somewhere where you just saw them, or that they were mentioned in, this could be anything. It depends on who it is and how you're going to approach that. And then of course, the last thing is ultimately to move that conversation offline and look at what is a way that makes sense to do that. And I love the thought of incorporating somewhere in here, and it could be in any of these phases, well, especially phase 3 and 4, a personalized video. And there's some really great video apps too that will allow you to just, send a video where it's kind of embedded in there. You can just do it from your iPhone as well, though.
Correct.
There's so many easy ways to do it. You don't have to complicate it, but that's obviously a really great thing to do. And you could just throw that into a Dropbox folder and say, hey, I shot this video for you. It's only like 30 seconds.
Simple YouTube, like unlisted if you want.
Yes, you can do it that way as well. Yep.
And then on YouTube,
any way you want.
Yeah, don't get too hung up on. You don't need a super duper camera and light and all that. It's more the connection, the authenticity. I just was connecting a couple of days ago with an influencer. He just shot me a quick video from his iPhone, like vertical, but I felt okay, and I could see he's talking to me. Hey, Dan, I want to connect with you. Like that caught my attention, right? and that alone is enough. And then from there we contact, we got on the phone. It's the same. It works. It works.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And you know, I am not that tech savvy. So like when it comes to like real tech related things, I'm referring that off to other people. So I like to keep things really, really simple. Don't overcomplicate tech because it'll overwhelm you. It'll prevent you from doing things. And there's no need. None of this stuff has to be technical. Yeah, maybe there's a few little technical things when you're setting up your profile for the first time. You're like, oh, how do I add that section? Or you know, learning how to use the advanced search, going in there and doing that. There's, you know, a little bit of tech here and there, but once you learn it one time, it's done. It's just really, really easy. You want to keep everything easy. Because as soon as it gets complicated, the chances of you doing it are slim to none.
Correct.
And so, you know, this is one of the things that I talk about, you know, in my book, and that's create an action plan of the items that you can and are willing to commit to on a daily and a weekly basis. Because if I were to tell you a list and that list were to be double the length of what you'd be willing to do, you wouldn't do it. It needs to be your own. It needs to be what you're willing to commit to, and just be, you know, consistent with that. Okay. So whether that's, you know, engaging with people or connecting with new people, finding prospects with people for 15 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day or 3 times a week, whatever that is, it needs to work for you. Obviously, if you're hungry and you're aggressive, you're going to spend more time at this, because this is going to be one of the best opportunities you have to generate new business using LinkedIn. So, you know, a lot of the clients that I work with, they're spending a couple of hours at it because it's producing massive results for them. Others, their businesses are doing really, really well, and they're like, we really don't need any more leads. So they're spending much less time. So this is the link method. This is just a quick overview of it. It's really just, it's about, you know, taking them through a process, and to go from point 1, the first step, to the 5th step. What you need to do in these steps is you need to earn the right for that offline conversation.
I love that. Do you recommend using, because I do have the Sales Navigator on my LinkedIn account. Do you recommend using that, or do people actually need to use that to find the influencers that they want?
You don't need to use it to find influencers, but you do want to use it if you want to become a serious social seller.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So if you know, for the HTC group, if they're just looking for, you know, a couple of influencers that they're going to engage with, then, you know, they might do that and not have to do that again for a while. Correct. So Sales Navigate. Whereas if this group, and I was wishing that you created a program like this, because I've had many of your people reach out to me also with really nice personalized videos, by the way, interested in working with me. And I was like, oh man, you know what I am looking for right now is I'm looking for an outbound salesperson that's going to go after the large companies that aren't coming to me, because I can handle everything that comes to me already. I don't take a lot of small steps, and you know what does come to me, it usually comes through referrals and stuff like that, so I can handle it. I don't need somebody to be taking those calls and doing all that kind of stuff, but I do want somebody to be going after, you know, some of the big companies for me. And so I was like, oh, that would be so nice if you had a program teaching them to do that, and they were offering that.
That's a good idea. And I'm actually, I am talking with a few companies that they are asking me about the outbound, the prospecting, but of course not the typical prospecting. You need to do it with a new way of closing, right?
Right. So exactly. So if they're salespeople already, like, you know, whether they're trained by you or they're already a salesperson, I'll create the whole lead generation process for them. I'll have it all mapped out. You know, I'll be like, these are the messages. This is who you're looking for. Like, I can provide the training. It's just, I'm not going, you know, I want them to go out.
The sales part. Got it.
I want them to go out and hunt. So, you know, for those people that are doing that, this is phenomenal. So Sales Navigator makes sense, because Sales Navigator allows you to set up unbelievable search filtering. It allows you to set, you know, unbelievable saved searches, and LinkedIn literally organically sends you leads. But what's more important is what used to be available on a free profile with the tagging and the notes is no longer. You only have that with Sales Navigator. So by having that in Sales Navigator, you can stay really organized with your prospecting process.
Makes sense.
So for that, it's very beneficial. So a free little goodie for you.
Yeah.
I have a social selling 21 point checklist that you can download. So it's not just all about LinkedIn. It's about, all the things to really build a presence online, to get across to those influencers, to have the authority, the credibility, and start to build the trust. And in order to build trust, it's important to remember to not just collect connections, build relationships. And then, of course, I have a brand new book, which has got all the latest strategies, tactics, tips, action plan. It's extremely actionable in terms of, everything that's working right now today on LinkedIn. And it comes with a bunch of free bonuses that I have for the launch of it. So some exclusive bonuses. It's available on Amazon, but if you go to LinkedInUnlockedBook.com, you'll be able to get the links to all the different Amazon sites, whether you want Kindle or paperback, or regardless of what country you're in. And then plus you'll see the launch bonuses that are there. So, if you're really interested in learning as much as you can about LinkedIn and how to really have a powerful presence there, I think the book would be a worthwhile, very small investment for what you can get from it.
100%, I agree. Like, if you know that LinkedIn is where we will find a lot of influencers, of course, I've taught you different ways at live events, and you can connect with influencers. But LinkedIn is such a powerful tool to be able to read a book, plus all the bonuses, which I appreciate. That you can have because I've read the book. It's a step-by-step guide, very powerful book. Here's the thing: I don't even think you need to use everything from the book. You just use like a percentage of it. You will be able to find that one influencer that you need to close sales for. So I was just talking with Melanie just before we start the webinar. I was saying that LinkedIn, I believe, is such an untapped platform. A lot of people on Facebook, a lot of people on all these other platforms, but LinkedIn to connect with an influencer. Myself, I want to also grow and focus very much on scaling my LinkedIn influence as well. So great book. I highly, highly recommend it.
Thank you, Dan.
So yeah, make sure you go to LinkedInUnlockedBook.com, LinkedInUnlockedBook.com. Melanie, just for my HCC students, I do have a few questions because I got from them that for influencers, when you are doing research, because we are mainly working with influencers in terms of they have high ticket programs, right? If they're high ticket coaching program, online courses, that sells for $2,000, $3,000, up to even $25,000 or more. That when you see the profile, what would be a good message, like if you were them, to connect with these influencers?
Compliment them.
Let's say, so compliment them first about their work, about what they're doing, about the success they did. To congratulate, compliment, okay?
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves, being acknowledged, and especially when, somebody's kind of positioning themselves as a fan of your work or whatever. You can never not accept a connection request like that. Well, I shouldn't say you can't ever. You shouldn't.
But the percentage it's high that they'll accept it.
The percentage is very high that they'll accept. That's definitely the best way to do it. And be able to say something that that's current, right? So when you're complimenting them, you're not just saying, oh, I love that book that you wrote 7 years ago. It's it's something more current too, that shows that you actually do know what's going on with them. So taking that time to know a little bit about them, compliment them, that's really all it should take to get that first step of that connection request accepted.
And once they do that, they accepted the request, then what would be the next message you think would be appropriate?
Well, again, you could do the exact same thing. So in a connection request, you could just keep it really, really short and say, I've been a fan of yours, so, love your content. So it could be really short. And in the message that follows after they accept, it could be more specific to, I love the perspective that you shared on that article that you just wrote. That was really, this or that, or, just kind of reference something that's relevant to them right now.
Mm. Something that's relevant.
So that would be the next message that follows would be ideal, because in the connection request, you got to keep it really, really short.
Correct. And then it could also be done to, again, a quick video. You compliment them, and then you can also do what I teach you, which if I was me, I would say something like, hey Melanie, love your latest book. I'm sure it's going well. Congratulations on being a #1 best-selling author. And by this time, if a high ticket closer and I want to close for Melanie, I would have gone through her funnel and see what's her back-end program that I would know, and I would find out the price point and everything. And notice you are offering this program through your webinar training. I wonder if you are in need of like closers to close some of those programs for your to follow-up. Maybe you already have someone in place, but if you need help, let me know. Like for something very, very soft, very casual, you're not trying to hard sell anybody. And from there, if the influencer, yeah, you know what, I am actually looking for, just like Melanie, you said, inbound you could handle, but maybe you're looking for some outbound people to reach out to corporations, right? Now you've gotten the influence interest. And from there, if there's a need, then you can jump on a call and you go from there. It's really that simple. It's like, it is not like a super complex 12-step process. It's truly about building relationships and connection and using LinkedIn. LinkedIn basically gives you a little bit of that shortcut because you can talk to the decision maker quite relatively easily, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would just say, always keep in mind to slow down the sale before speeding it up, so going really, really light, but again, this doesn't have to take forever. So it's just, not with the first message do you want to obviously offer anything, but you can definitely, I would be more intrigued with asking them, a really intelligent question.
Yeah. What do you need?
To get them to engage back with you. So this new program that you have, is this brand new, or have you had this for a while? Do you have any other new programs coming up? It could be something just as simple as that, to just kind of learn a little bit more about them, get them to engage in dialogue. They might then think that you're interested in their program as a consumer. And then, they might kind of come back to you with something like that. And then you could be like, hey, one of the things I do is I work with people just like you, that have programs that are higher end that require a phone call. And so, instead of just an online funnel, they require a phone call. And I close those calls.
Yes.
That's what I do.
Yes.
If you ever need help, feel free to reach out to me. And then you could do that again, a little bit later, but start to engage with them, start to pay attention to what they're doing, let them get to know who you are. And remember just, how well known they are. Yeah. The more well known they are, the slower you should go.
Yeah. Oh, well said. Like that. That's the quote of the month right there. Yeah. Because keep in mind, when they are well known, they are getting pitched all day, like all the time, and they have their guards up. That it's just
they do.
Right. It's just everybody wants something from them. If it's an important influencer, again, we only need one good influencer to do very well. So take the time. Don't ruin the relationship. A little bit back and forth. That's okay. I love that. The more well-known they are, the more you need to slow down. It's like, ooh, like it's a little bit like dating, don't you think? It's like like in dating, if he or she is very popular, probably a lot of people ask them on a date, and you do the same thing. It doesn't work that well. You get asked on a date all the time, right? But if you slow down, get to know them, and all of that, and then now when you ask them on a date, they're more likely to say yes, right?
Exactly, Dan. You nailed it.
LinkedIn dating. That's
LinkedIn dating. But please don't use LinkedIn as a dating site.
Oh my God, it's a bad idea. This is not Tinder. Okay, please. Okay. Keep it professional. So thank you so much, Melanie. I appreciate it. Very, very helpful. Definitely go to LinkedInunlocked.book.com. Read the book. I finished the book. It's a great book. I mean, the last book I think it's a great book, but I think this one, you really take it to a whole new level. And as an author, I could appreciate the amount of work and just research that goes into doing a book like this. So we appreciate you. We appreciate you taking the time to teach our high tea closers just for our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jan. It's always my pleasure.
Thank you.